Welcome to the BXG Podcast, the podcast where pop culture and nerd culture meet.
You think it's just going to be barbecue sauce?
Because if you actually read those books, it's just gobbledygook.
I really think clothes should be mandatory.
Speaking of Star Wars,
Captain America.
trailer reaction video. Moving on to Chainsaw Man, episode 6. Kill Denji. We learn that the team is stuck on the 8th floor in the stomach region of the headband, the head, hand, arm devil that they thought they killed. They're stuck.
That's wild times.
There is no escape. And I forget the name of the devil. I am remiss and I apologize. But he seems to feed on fear and become larger. And one of the girl, not eye patch or power, but the other one is constantly crying and succumbing to her fear and making this thing bigger. Eventually, it presents them with a deal. If you kill Denji and give him to me, I will let the rest of you go. So they hem around about that, and they're going to kill him. She tries to stab him and ends up stabbing Aki instead. Power is going to kill him, but she can't because it has to be one of the humans that kills him, not a fiend. And eventually at the end, he decides, after a nap, he decides that he's going to say, okay, I know what this thing wants. I'm going to let it swallow me. I'm going to go chainsaw mode after it swallows me and try to kill it basically from the inside. And we kind of see like a little bit more backstory between Aki and Eye Patch and how their relationship formed over her love of cigarettes. And, you know, this was kind of a slower build-up episode, but it's giving us a little bit more of an ongoing plot or problem.
Yeah.
Versus just each episode being its kind of own little mini mission. And I think that's kind of where we're like gearing up towards, like I said, in the last week or two, this is what the actual story is now for season 1 of this show.
Right.
So thoughts, Chainsaw Man, episode 6.
So exactly what you're saying is this was a really slow burn with a good ending. I mean, I like the ending. I thought the ending was great. I mean, I was like, it was a slow burn, but with the same idea of how they do things, where build up, chainsaw, let's get after it kind of thing. But
yeah,
I thought the build up was initially maybe the first 5 to 7 minutes. I was like, okay, like it didn't seem like it was going anywhere. And then when Denji realizes what he has to do, I'm like, oh, okay, like this all makes sense. And the crying thing was driving me nuts, though. I'm not going to lie. I was like getting actually pissed off. I was watching this during like one of my breaks, and I just said, I can't fucking do this right now. Like, I'm around kids that are 10 talking or, making noises and stuff like that throughout my day. And then I got this fucking thing crying, and I just wanted to like kill myself for a little bit. So I had to step away from it twice. It's 20 minutes and I had to step away from the crying twice because you just couldn't deal with it. And it's that kind of crying that was just like
really over the top.
Repulsive. And I understand why they did it. Like I get that in this thing because it's like anime, like everything's always like anytime someone cries in anime, I hate it. I will say it's just one of those things where it's always so annoying sounding.
Their mouth is wide open. Their eyes are
the mouth. It's the worst. Yeah. It's just absolutely. It's like it's the way crying's always represented in cartoons. Actually, not just anime. Yeah. It's always just so over the top, and it just, especially like when you're having a week where like maybe you're dealing with like a lot of crap anyhow. It's just I had to step away. So I didn't actually. That was too much for me. But the idea of this episode, I thought was, like you said, really well conceived in the sense of like, we know where this is going now, which honestly, I didn't care. I will say that's like, sure. I honestly did not care if the show ever had a real plot because it was kind of a nice step away of like we don't care either.
Right.
If you can, like, we just build up, crazy looking creature. That thing in this show with like the 9,000 head thing.
Yeah, it's really grotesque.
I'm so glad I don't watch the show before I go to bed, or I would have nightmares.
Yeah.
So that was grotesque and weird. But yeah, I would say that the way it builds up, and now we have a plot, good but not needed. Which is sort of funny. Like I rarely say that, but it was just for this show. I don't think it's needed because it is so ridiculous. But I do like that they're doing it.
Yeah, and I think it's good because it gives us a little bit of a marker that, okay, this episode and the previous episode were slower, but we know because of how this episode ended that the next episode is going to be batshit crazy.
Oh, absolutely crazy.
And it's going to be where it's at now, and seeing this show versus the trajectory of a lot of traditional anime that I have watched through the years is this is a battle that could take 2 or 3 episodes to resolve. And so we had these sort of couple slower episodes. The only thing is this is so much more compact because it's only 12 or 13 episodes versus even like the first season of Naruto, which was like 25, I think. And so, but the flip side of that is a lot of shows like Naruto or Dragon Ball Z or Hunter x Hunter, whatever. There's a lot of filler moments in those shows where it's just like the main character and the adversary just literally yelling at each other. And that just takes up you take a show that could have been a show that could have been truncated into 16 episodes and stretch it out to 24 or 25. So I do think that that's part of it too. And I think that that's one thing that this show has going for it is there's not a ton of filler. And it seems like moment to moment, things progress pretty rapidly versus, and I don't think I think the other thing that I appreciate about this show is that they explain things to you. They explain what's happening. Okay, we're stuck on the 8th floor. We cannot go up. We cannot go down. If we go out the windows of the rooms, we just come back in on the other side. But they don't like take time to continuously beat you over the head with this is the predicament of the protagonist. It's just this is what it is, and we have to figure out how to get out of it. And I thought that like one way of kind of advancing the story in an interesting way or like a succinct way was the fact that Denji takes a nap. And so that shows like the passage of time, like they've passed time, but time hasn't actually passed. And we don't know how long he was out for, but while he was out off screen, girls freaking hiding in a closet crying, Power's eating all the food, Aki's just pacing around trying to figure stuff out. The other guy like tries really hard to figure something out and then just is like sitting on his own. So rather than take the time to like show us all that, it's just like, wow, we're just going to summarize this after his nap. So I think that they're doing a good job of pacing this a lot better than some of its contemporary pieces or contemporary shows in the same genre where these things can be drawn out very, very long. So I'm appreciative of that. And even though this was a slower episode, I thought that it did a good job of building story and building tension towards what we know next week will be just a completely off the rails battle. And I can't wait for it.
Yes, me too. It's going to be just 20 minutes of chaos and I'm loving it.
Yeah.
McDonald's style.
The intro video is too long.
Well, yeah, just skip it.
Yeah, me too. But like the first time it was like cool because it's all these pop culture references and everything. But now it's like, okay. It's like 2.5 minutes long.
It's way too long. And
that's what she said.
That's what she said.
So any other final?
No, I like this show.
On.
This is one of those few shows where like I didn't really care what direction they went because it was nice to see something just so wildly different. So
we've been watching a lot of heavy stuff too, like leading into this.
Exactly. Yeah. And this is not necessarily light, but different. Just different.
Yeah. All right. So we'll move along here again.